Hello and welcome to this video. I am Karnesh Johri and this video is about Git source code management system. Source code is the produce of all software development effort. It is highly malleable, very fragile and easily damaged. A small damage to source code can dramatically reduce the value of the software product. So source code has to be controlled, preserved and managed. Source code management is a major challenge faced by all software development teams. Git is the most popular source code management system. In this video, we look at Git, its command for source code management or SCM as it is called, and we'll also look at commands to set up a Git server, and we'll try to relate our knowledge of Git with the functionality offered by GitHub website. And we start with an overview of Git. Git is a source code management system, SCM, originally developed by Linus Torvalds in 2005 for the management of Linux kernel source code. Git is a distributed SCM as opposed to earlier SCMs like CVS and Subversion, which are centralized client-server systems. In centralized systems, the repository is kept at the server. Clients check out a version from the server, make changes, and commit that modified version back on the server, which becomes available to other users. In case of Git, which is a distributed SCM, any checked out version of software also contains the repository, and so a checked out version is at par with the repository, and you can commit a new version locally. If you want, you can push the new commits to the remote repository, or the remote repository can pull the latest commit from the local system. Philosophically, the distributed SCM empowers the local developer. Also, there are operational benefits which we will see during the course of this video. Git concepts. Tree. A tree is a directory containing files and other subdirectories. Working tree or working directory. A working tree or working directory is a version of the software that has been checked out from a Git repository. After checking out the repository, some changes might have been made to the files which might not have been committed yet. So, a working tree is often a work in progress. Commit. Commit is a snapshot of the software at a point of time. At that point of time, the software might have reached a certain milestone, and the development team might want to preserve the exact configuration and status of the working tree. All the files in the working directory tree are saved and the entire configuration is recorded and preserved for future reference. A commit is identified by a 40 hexadecimal digit SHA-1 checksum. We can provide less than 40 digits to indicate a commit on the command line. We don't need to type in all the 40 hex digits, just the initial part of SHA-1 checksum, enough to uniquely identify the commit object. For example, we can say git show 6ff5b696ae, etc., or with lesser number of digits of the SHA-1 checksum, that is git show 6ff5b6. Repository. A repository is the database of commits that have happened in the course of time. Git is a distributed SCM and the repository is part of the working tree. It is in the directory name .git in the root of the working tree. A remote repository is often a bare repository. It does not have the files of a working tree. It just has a database of historical commits in a .git subdirectory. As a convention, bare repositories have name with a .git suffix. For example, https://github.com/alice/hello.git is a remote repository, whereas /home/bob/hello is a local repository. Branches. As we plot commits on the time axis and join them, we get a line, and it is a branch. A branch is the locus of commits on the time axis. It is a line of activity on the project. The latest commit is the tip of the branch and is referenced by the branch head. The default branch is the master branch and is the main branch of development. Git is successful because it offers efficient branching and merging operations. Branching and merging help in adding new functionalities to a software product. The way to go about is to make branch, add new functions, commit to the local branch and test. All this is done without affecting the main master branch. When the new functions have been added and tested, the same can be merged with the main branch. This helps in making software development process distributed as more and more developers in different locations get their copy of the repository and add functions to their local branches. Eventually, these functions are merged with a master branch and the commits are pulled by the main repositories. How exactly all this is done? We'll look at it with examples in this video. Origin. The origin is the default name of the server from where we have cloned from. So if you have cloned from GitHub, you get output like this, and this is your origin. Similarly, if you have cloned from a local repository, you get output like this, and the local repository is your origin. There are two groups of commands for interfacing with Git. The first is the core Git command interface. This is the interface for developers, those who want to understand Git, internals, and possibly add or modify how Git works. These are also known as the plumbing commands. There's a tutorial for this and you can access it with the command man7 git core-tutorial. I will not be talking about git core commands in this video. The second interface is the Git user interface, the commands for using Git as a source code management system. Whereas Git core commands are known as plumbing commands, the Git usage commands are called the porcelain commands. I will be talking about the Git usage commands in this video. Before we start using Git, we need to set the username and email. These would be used by Git in commit records. To set the email, we need to give the command git config -- global user.email followed by the email of the user. And to set the username, we have to give the command git config -- global user.name followed by the user's name. With these in place, we can move to the Git commands for source code management. We will look at Git commands for source code management with examples. We have working tree here, which is nothing but a hello world program. There is only one source file hello.c and it prints hello world. The other files are auxiliary and help in making the source tree a GNU software package. We'll do the source code management of this package using the Git commands. The first step is to initialize a Git repository for this package. We make sure we are in the root of the working tree and we give the command git init. This initializes an empty repository for the package. It is under the .git directory in the working tree. If we look at the working tree, there are a few files which are temporary in nature and need not be put under source code management. We can make a .gitignore file and put the names of such files in it, and Git ignores those files. Next, we have to commit the files to the repository. This is a two-step process. First, we add files to the index, also called the staging area. This is done with the command git add file name, and we say git add dot to add all the file names. For each unique file, a snapshot is recorded under the objects, and the index file is updated for all the file names in the command. We can see the status with the git status command. Next, we commit with the command git commit -m followed by a commit message. For example, git commit -m first commit. Just to summarize, there are two steps in the commit. First, add files to the index, Second, commit files added to the index to the repository. After committing work, we can create a tag for it. Tags are created with the git tag command, which is like git tag -a tag name followed by an optional message and the commit or object ID. If we skip the commit or object ID, the tag refers to the object pointed by the head, the commit at the tip of the current branch. For example, consider the command git tag -a x.y -m version x.y. This creates a tag x.y and the tag refers to the commit pointed by the head, but we can associate a tag with any commit or for that matter any object. We can specify SHA-1 checksum for a commit and the tag refers to that commit. For example, the command git tag -a 67v8.1 -m id 67 version 8.1 16bb ee0. The tag 67v8.1 refers to the commit 16bb ee0. And we put a tag in our example. The last commit made the first version, so we associate a tag v1.0 with it with the command git tag v1.0 -m version 1.0. And we can see the log with the command git log -all -one line -decorate -graph. The git log command shows the log of commits for the repository in the reverse chronological order. Here we see the git log output for the Git repository. Git log is very useful because you can see how the repository has got commits in the previous time intervals. Also, you can see the SHA-1 checksum, which serves as the ID for each commit, and the commit message summarizing the work done for a commit. We have seen the git commands to initialize repository, adding files to the index or the staging area, committing work, and adding tags. There are more commands which help us in our day-to-day work, and we'll look at them one by one. Remember, there's a working tree, staging area or the index, and the commits to the repository, which we can see with the git log command. The first command of interest is git diff. Git diff gives the differences between the head and the current files. So it gives you the changes that you have made in the working tree since the last commit. Git diff -cached gives the differences between the head and the files in the staging area. We can also run diff between two commits. For example, git diff 06c 7b7d c270 cf3, where 06c 7b7d and c270 cf3 are two commits for the repository as seen in the git log command. If something goes wrong, we need to backtrack. So if you want to discard changes in the working directory for files, we can say git checkout -- followed by the list of files. And to discard changes in all the files in the working directory, the command is git checkout --. Now suppose we have added files to the index and we wish to unstage files. We can say git reset head followed by the list of files. To unstage all the files, we can say git reset head dot. If we wish to remove all changes in the working directory and the index, we can say git reset -- hard. This maintains the current head, the staging area is cleared, and the working tree matches the current head. If we specify a commit ID, that is SHA-1 for a commit, the head is initialized to the indicated commit and the index or staging area is cleared. In effect, we move to an earlier commit and all commits after that are discarded. As an example, let's say we have a repository with these commits and the last two commits 22995F7 and 44A503E have not gone well. We want to get rid of these commits and make edbfca8 as our head. The command is git reset --hard edbfca8. After the command, we can see the log and edbfca8 has become the head and the two commits 22995F7 and 44A503E have been discarded. The origin is the upstream repository we cloned from in the first place. So if we have the permission to push to the origin, we can do that with the command git push origin master --tags. And since we are losing some commits, we need to use the --force flag, and the command is git push origin master --force --tags. Branching. Now we come to the all-important topic of branching. We can create a new branch with the command git branch name. We can list all branches with the command git branch. And we can switch to a branch with the command git checkout branch name. Alternatively, we could use git switch branch name. And for merging, the command is git merge branch name. We can delete a branch with the command git branch -d branch name. Also, we can force switch to the master branch, discarding any changes that are not committed with the command git checkout -f master. Let's try the branching commands with our hello repository. Git status tells us our working tree is clean and we have nothing to commit. And git branch tells that we just have the master branch. So let's create a branch named new and we check out the new branch for development work. We open hello.c for modification. We add a line, we compile and run hello.c and it works fine. So we commit our changes on the branch new and now we switch to the master and we make some changes in the master branch and we compile and run the program. It works fine. So we commit the changes on the master branch. Now we wish to merge the new branch with the master. So we give the command git merge new and the merge works fine. The file hello.c has got the changes of the new branch in addition to the master. In this case, merge has been done automatically. As the merge has been successful, we can delete the new branch. Now let's look at another example where merge cannot be done automatically and manual input is necessary. We make a branch alt. We switch to alt, make changes in hello.c, we compile and run, it works fine. So we commit and we check out the master branch. We make changes in the master branch, compile and run. It works fine. So we commit. Now we try to merge the alt branch with the master branch. There are conflicts whether to put good evening or good night at the end. The merge fails and we need to merge manually. After merging manually, we can commit and we can delete the alt branch. So we have seen that branching is easy and we can easily make new branches and merge them. Git server. GitHub comes to mind when we talk about a Git server. We'll look at GitHub a little later, but let's say we want to set up a Git server on the net, a virtual private server in cloud, providing a remote Git repository. And how do we do that? On the remote server, we first need to set up Secure Shell SSH connectivity. Since servers in cloud are normally managed by SSH, it is there by default. and you don't need to install SSH. However, if it is an in-house server, SSH might not be there and we need to install SSH. And this is done with the command sudo apt-get install open ssh-server. We first create the group git, sudo add group git, and then we add the user git, sudo add user --home/home/git --shell /user bin git -shell -ingroup git. Let's see the /home/git directory. We create the .ssh directory in the /home/git directory. Sudo mkdir.ssh, and we make git the owner and group for SSH. Sudo chown git:git.ssh, sudo chmod 0700.ssh, and we can see the git shell is there, user bin /git shell. Next, we edit the shells directory in /etc and we add git shell /user /bin /git shell to the shells file. Next, we will generate the RSA public private key pair ssh-keygen -t RSA. The public key has to be copied to .ssh directory under /home/git as authorized keys. Sudo cp idrsa.pub /home/git/.ssh/authorized keys, and we change owner of authorized keys to git. Sudo chown git:/home/git/.ssh/authorized keys. On the local system, ssh-add :/idrsa, and then we do some configuration for SSH secure shell. We go to /etc and open file sshd_config. We set pub key authentication as yes, and we restart the secure shell SSH daemon sudo systemctl restart sshd. Next, we create an empty repository on the Git server. We execute the commands cd/home/git sudo mkdir hello cd hello sudo git --bear init cd sudo chown -r git:/git hello, and we can see the directory cd hello ls-lsa and the recursive directory ls-lsar. Now our Git server is almost ready, and we can push the hello repository from the local system to the Git server. For that, we need to set the remote repository at the local system with a command like git remote add origin URL, and then we can push the local repository to the remote system with a command git push origin master --tags. So we give the commands git remote add origin git @192.168.1.4:/home/git/hello. Git is the username on the server, and 192.168.1.4 is the IP address of the server, and the repository is at /home/git/hello on the remote server. And we can see the remote repository with the command git remote -v. We push the repository with the command git push origin master --tags. Once we have the remote repository in place, anyone interested can pull the software version and the underlying repository from the remote server. The commands are cd hello, git init, git remote add origin, git @192.168.1.4 /home/git/hello, and we can pull the repository with the command git pull origin master, and we can see the directory. Next, we provide Git protocol for anonymous read-only access of repositories. For Git push, Git pull, or Git fetch to work, the client needs SSH credentials for accessing the server. However, once you provide the Git protocol, anyone can get the repository from the server. With a command like git clone git:/server/repository, you can get a copy of the working tree with repository, and you can start working on the software, and once you reach some milestone, you can publish your software repository on a server and invite people to pull or clone. So how do we provide Git protocol? We need to run the git daemon with a command like git daemon --reuse addr --base path equal to /home/git/space/home/git &. To make it run in the background, we need to create a blank file named git-daemon-export-ok in the root directory of the repository. We do that by giving the commands cd/home/git/hello, sudo touch git-daemon-export-ok, and sudo chown git:/git-daemon-export-ok. This should make it possible for anyone to clone the repository using the Git protocol. For example, a user gives the command git clone git:/192.168.1.4 and clones the hello repository. Rather than running from the command line, git daemon should start at the system boot time. So it should be a systemd service. We make a systemd service file git.service in the /live/systemd/system directory, and it has these lines. We enable the git service and also start it. Now the git daemon is running and will also start after the next system boot. GitHub is a website for hosting Git repositories and facilitating collaboration between developers. We can do Git operations like creating repository, make a new branch, make and commit changes. And once we have committed changes in a branch, we can generate a pull request asking people to review the proposed changes in the branch and merge the changes into their branches. The URL of a repository on GitHub is https://github.com/username/repository name. We can create a repository hello on GitHub, which can be our remote repository, and we can push our local repository hello to the remote repository. Assuming that the remote repository on GitHub has been created, we can set it as the remote repository on local hello, and we can push the local hello to the remote repository. The commands are git remote add github-hello https://github.com username/hello. github-hello is the name we have given to our remote repository, and we can push the local hello to the remote repository with the command git push github-hello master --tags. And to get the latest version from GitHub, we can pull the hello repository to the local system, make some changes and push it back to GitHub. This cycle can continue indefinitely. And also we can clone the repository from GitHub git clone https://github.com/username/hello. We get the full working tree and the repository. Instead of using HTTPS, we could have used the Git protocol and got the same results. And we come to the end of this video. You can find all this information at https://tiny.1/git-scm. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks very much for watching. Take care and stay safe.